good morning, everybody. Oh, wow, I'm really loud. If you guys would stand up, we're going to worship a little bit here. You guys doing okay today? Everybody doing well? If we could, just before we start, if you could close your eyes, and I do this a lot, but it's really helpful for me. I think it'd be helpful for all of us, and just take a deep breath and relax. As we take a deep breath, we're thankful we have our masks on. But Lord, we just want to say that we're present with you right now. And even just in your own heart, if you would say that, just Lord, I'm present. I'm here to worship. I'm here to lift you up. I'm not here for any other reason but to glorify your name. And our ask and prayer, Lord, is that if there's anything that's distracting us from wanting to glorify you this morning, I pray that you would remove it from our minds. Whatever the thing may be that is keeping me from desiring to see your face in this time, keeping me from seeing your heart for me, your plans and your purposes for me. Lord, we just make your name known in this place. And even now, we just set aside our hearts and minds, our entire being. We just set it aside for this time of worship now, Lord. Saying that you're worthy, that you're holy. Father, we have come to bow down in worship. This is what we're doing. Lifting up our hearts, we bow down in praise. Say that again. Father, we have come. Father, we have come to bow down in worship. We're lifting up our hearts. We bow down in praise. And lover of our souls, hallelujah. With all of heaven, we are singing, oh, we're singing, oh, we're singing. To the bright morning star, bright morning star, your eyes blaze like fire, shining like the sun. You are shining like the sun. You're our one desire. Hallelujah. We're singing hallelujah to the lover of our souls. And hallelujah with all of heaven, we are singing. We sing hallelujah. We sing hallelujah. Come on, just lift up your voice and sing it to him. The lover of our souls, hallelujah. We sing hallelujah. With all of heaven, we are singing. With all of heaven, with all of heaven, we are singing. angels cry out. Holy is the Lord God, and all the earth replies. Holy are you, oh, and all the angels cry out. Holy is the Lord God, and all the earth replies. With holy are you, oh, and all the angels cry out. Holy is the Lord God, and all the earth replies. Sing, holy are you, oh, and all the angels cry out. Holy is the Lord God, and all the earth replies. We're singing, holy are you, oh, 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 and all the angels cry. Holy is the Lord God, and all the earth replies. Sing, holy are you, yeah, and all the angels cry. Holy is the Lord God, and all the earth replies. Sing, holy are you, Lord. Hallelujah. 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 Holy are you, sing it. Hallelujah. 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 Holy are you. Oh. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. Oh, and worthy, worthy is the Lord. All the glory, all the praise to you alone, God. We give you worship, give you honor. Oh, that's okay. Early in the morning, our song shall rise to thee. You are holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in three persons, blessed Trinity. Sing holy. Holy, holy, holy. All the saints adore thee. The casting down their golden crowns around the glassy sea. The cherubim and seraphim falling down before thee, who was and is and evermore shall be. Oh, forever you are, Father, Spirit, Son, oh, and holy, holy, holy. Though the darkness hide thee, though the eye of sinful men thy glory may not see. Come on, just lift this up. Oh, only thou art holy, and there is none beside thee. You're perfect in power, in love and purity. Holy, holy, Lord God Almighty. All thy works shall praise thy name to earth and sky and sea. Oh, holy, 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 you're merciful and mighty. Oh God, in three persons, blessed Trinity. In your own way, if you feel comfortable, just give him worship and praise in your own song, your own voice. It could be in your heart, it could be out loud, but he just deserves our worship this morning. He doesn't deserve a quiet praise, a quiet worship, but a loud praise. The Father, Son, Spirit, the Trinity, the God of the universe, creator of all things, one who extends grace and mercy to us when we don't deserve it. Out of love and kindness created us, gave us breath to wake up today. He's worthy of worship. Blessing and honor, glory and power are yours alone. You stand through the ages, enthroned on our praises forevermore. Oh, blessing and honor, glory and power are yours alone. Oh, you stand through the ages, enthroned on our praises forevermore. Oh, hallelujah, to the lover of our souls, who is, sing hallelujah. With all of heaven we are singing, with all of heaven we are singing, with all of heaven, one more time. With all of heaven, we are singing. We just join the angels and the saints that have gone before us, Lord, and we just give you honor and glory this morning. And Lord, we just want to give you our worship, not based on what you've done for us or based on what you've given to us, Lord, but just because you're holy, just because there's no other like you. There's no one that has ever been or that ever will be, that will ever be like you, Lord. Holy. You are so other than what we're used to. You're so opposite of what we think you are. In your goodness, your kindness, your purity, your justice, your judgment, your mercy, Lord, your protection. Just remind us this morning, Lord, that your thoughts are not our thoughts, that your ways are higher, your thoughts are higher. So take us higher as well. Take us higher in our thinking, Lord. Take us higher in our worship, Lord. Don't let us settle for what we think you look like or what we think you sound like. But Lord, be holy in our lives. And in that, I pray that just as it said in Leviticus, Lord, that as you are holy, that we would be holy just as you are holy, Lord. Make us holy like you. Make us other like you. Help us to look different, to sound different, so that the world may see you in us. In your name we pray. Amen.
I would say that you should hug somebody around you, but you should not. So think about who you are excited to hug when we are back at church and not wearing masks. So y'all can be seated. Good morning. I'm Ashley Crocker. I serve here on our communications team, help with announcements, obviously, and social media and that kind of thing. So thank you so much for being here. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there and all the folks that have served as dads in our lives. Hope you have a good day today. And special welcome to those of you that are joining us live on YouTube. We have made some serious upgrades, so we are not streaming sideways on Facebook anymore. We are streaming in the correct orientation on YouTube this morning, and I know there was about 15 folks that were joining us a little bit ago, so welcome. If you are unable to watch live, you can certainly go back and watch it later today, so it'll be up there. Just a couple of announcements that we have this morning. First first of all, if you're new with us, thanks for joining us. At Citylights, we just exist to love Jesus and to bring good news to the nations, to bless our neighbors, and to build family here at Citylights. So if you're new, if you would go online and fill out a connect card for us, you can go to citylights.cc. So if you're here with us in the building or you're joining us online, definitely do that. We'd love to get to know you and get you plugged in. One of the best ways to get plugged in is through city groups. So those are smaller groups of about 7 to 12 people that meet. Lately it's been on Zoom, but I think there's been a couple of, social distancing bonfires and that kind of thing. So we'd love to get you plugged in. It's really the best way to meet people and get to know folks. So if you're not in a city group, let us know and we can help get you in one. A couple of other things. So we will continue to be doing on-site and online services. We're taking a lot of precautions with COVID, and we've got a whole team dedicated to kind of making sure that we are constantly following all the guidelines and adding new protocols. And we are continuing to monitor the situation here in South Carolina and praying for it, and we'll make decisions accordingly. So the best way to kind of get the up-to-date information is just follow us on Instagram, but you can also subscribe to our newsletter. Okay, moving on from COVID. Missions. So we currently have 4 mission partners in Taiwan, the Dominican Republic, Uganda, and we support Catherine, who works at Clemson, and is doing a lot of mission work there. We are looking for another mission partner. So we are dedicated to sending 10% of our tithes and offerings out the door to support missions. So if you know of a mission partner or a missionary that you think might fit the values and align with Citylights, let us know. You can email us at deacons@citylights.cc. But we're going to begin looking for a new mission partner, which is really exciting. Speaking of deacons, each year Citylights looks for new deacons so that we'll constantly have kind of new leadership as people transition out and transition in. So with that in mind, there have been a few people nominated. And this Sunday, we're officially nominating 4 new deacons. So Adam Grabluski, who is not here this morning, Holly Starnes, Bob Hessel, hey, and myself, which is kind of awkward to say. But the 4 of us have been nominated, so thank you for whoever did that. And we will be so deacons are affirmed by congregational vote. And obviously a lot of us are not here in person, so we've done that through SurveyMonkey. So if you're a family member here at Citylights, if you're a member, you should have received an email yesterday. And there is a survey that you can go in and vote for us. So if you have a minute, just please take a look at that email. There's a couple of little short bios, and fill that out as you can. And if we get enough to affirm all of the candidates, about 30 members is what we need, we will install our new deacons next Sunday. So we'll keep you posted on that. And finally, for giving, we're not going to be doing giving in a traditional way, just with like social distancing and the COVID stuff in mind. We won't be passing baskets, but you're certainly welcome to give online. So you can go to citylights.cc to do that. All right, I'm going to pray for giving, and that was a lot of announcements, so I'm glad I got through them all. Awesome. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for this space. Thank you for our new home. Thank you for the new folks that are joining us today in person and online. God, I thank you that you are continuing to move in the midst of what feels like a very chaotic world right now. It feels like a very unknown time to be alive. There's a lot of things that keep changing. God, I thank you that you never change, and you are always good, and you are always present, and you are always kind. And so, God, I just ask that as we continue to move through today, Lord, I ask that you would bless the giving. I ask that you would just multiply it. Help us to continue to grow and to be salt and light in the city of Greenville. Bless Oliver as he speaks this morning, and touch hearts. In Jesus' name, amen.
And happy Father's Day. I know we're not doing shaking hands and stuff, but just give an eyeball, like a wink or a nod or something. Just look at somebody. I feel like body language is 80% of communication in the first place. So just you can just peek a smile at them. If you're 6 feet apart, I feel like that's legal. I just feel like it's so important to us, as a church, as Ashley was sharing earlier, that the discipleship and everything that Jesus came for and everything that Jesus is doing in this city, it's not happening through individuals. It's happening through communities. It's happening through royal priesthoods, as the Old Testament language would talk about, and Peter would reinfer. royal priests that would gather in the nation and be salt and light. And that is exactly what kind of our series is about this morning. I just want to give a quick shout out to my daughter Rose in the back. If you guys wave at her. Rose was born June 16th, 2006. One of our good comedian friends told us, or called us on June 6th, 2006 and said, I hope she's not born today because that would be awkward. But she was born 10 days later, and we're thankful for that. And she made me a dad, is why I brought that up. And Father's Day was the day directly after that. And I am in love with Rose. I love Rose. Her favorite show is The Office. If you ever want to give her a gift, a mug with the best boss or whatever. And it's just that age. It's that age. She's just turned 14, and we've been watching a lot of Office together. And she's one of my best friends. So love it, love it. If you have your Bible, I want you to open up to Genesis chapter 1. We're continuing in our summer series this morning called Salt and Light. Everybody say Salt and Light. Salt and light, salt and light, salt and light. Why would we spend an entire summer's sermon series on salt and light? It's like 4 verses long. Salt and light, salt and light. Salt and light is a deep and a wide concept. You could spend a summer on it, you could spend a lifetime on it, because it is not just what we have, it's who we are. Like, that's what Jesus says, is like, we don't just have salt, we are salt. And Andy Stanley spends probably 3 times as much time as I spend on sermons, 40 hours a week, on his me, his we, his he, his you, his us. He preaches messages. Jesus says, the best message that I've ever given is a life that's consecrated to me, a life that's different because of me, a life that's in love with me. Like we live in a broken world, and we're all looking for answers, and we're all looking for something that can bring hope and to break through. We all have family and neighborhoods and people that we know are brokenhearted and hard-hearted and resistant to the Lord. But this is what the Lord is saying when he says they're going to see your good deeds and recognize it's not you doing them, and recognize your Father in heaven. He's saying you're the best evangelistic, apologetic medium that I have in my hand. And where sermons are not going to reach them, you are. Your life is going to reach them. Your life, your past, your present, your future, your story, your job. Like I'm going to send Asian pastors down there, and they're going to do their best to try and get an outline down there and preach on Sunday mornings, but like that sermon's not going to reach. It's like, it's your life. This is what he's saying. It's the salt and light, and you are the salt and light of the world. The city of a hill on a hill cannot be hidden. And so that's what this is. Salt and light is a deep prayer. It's like we only export what we import. Like, we can only give away what we have. And probably the best way to analyze and assess whether or not we believe and understand the gospel is the way that we treat the people around us, because we export what we import. And so the prayer for salt and light is not only a wide prayer, it's a deep prayer. It's a prayer for deep saturation of the gospel in our lives, in our everyday lives, in all of our relationships. And so this is the question, right? Like, this is the question, like the world has country clubs and has great music and has retreats and has care for the poor. The world has lots of functions that the church also has. But what the church has that makes it salty, that makes it different, lest it lose its tastiness, is the gospel of Jesus Christ. Are we saturated in the gospel? Are we different because of the gospel? Do we think differently in the gospel? And when people come to us, do we give them the gospel or do we give them something else? Great N.T. Wright says, it's not good advice, it's good news. When people come to us with their marriage problems and their eating disorders and their depression, do we give them advice or do we give them good news? When we talk to ourselves and we run into issues, do we try and find solutions for the problems that we have in other places with good advice, or do we respond and live in the saltiness of the gospel? Foolishness to men, wisdom to God. Do we live imports and exports of the gospel? I remember the first time that the gospel became real to me. Is the gospel real to you today? The gospel gets you in the church. You know, they ask you, like, what do you believe? And you know what you're supposed to say. I believe in the gospel. You know, we know that. That's the code word, right? That's the password. That's the thing that, you know, that's what you get baptized with. That's how you step in, right? But is the gospel real to you? Like, is it the right answer or is it the real answer? Is it the preacher's answer or is it your answer? Is the gospel real to you? I remember the first time the gospel became real to me. It was like 5 years after I began following Jesus. I used to picture Jesus. He'd walk around with me since I was 18 years old. I didn't grow up in a Christian household, and so nobody taught me any different. That was the best thing that I had, and I would just picture him. I'd picture his face. I still do sometimes when I pray. Picture his expression, picture his tone, and I used to follow Jesus, kind of by myself, with Jesus by my side. I'd imagine him in the driver's seat. Bob Foose, where's my Diet Coke? Bob Foose Summer 2004, Campus Crusade for Christ, he brought his Diet Coke out like this, and I was behind on my sermon illustration today, so I didn't get it done. But he poured a big old glass of Diet Coke. He says, this Coke, for the purpose of this sermon, is Jesus Christ. And then he took a little R2-D2, and he took the R2-D2 in the cup, and he just plunked it. He just dropped it right there in that cup, and it totally disappeared. And he says, and that's you in Jesus Christ. He says, Jesus is not just around you, he's in you. When the Father looks at you, he can't see anything but Jesus. And so when he sees you, the only beginning stem of any sentence that he ever says to you is, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased. This is my beloved daughter in whom I'm well pleased. There's a difference between knowing that God is around you and knowing that God is inside of you. Two separate things. And that marked a landmark shift for my walk in Jesus. From what I would call the if gospel to the because gospel. Everybody say if. The if gospel is the gospel of the world. The if gospel is the prosperity gospel. The if gospel is the legalist gospel. The if gospel is the principled gospel. But it's not the gospel of Jesus. The if gospel says that if I do X, then I will get Y. That's what the if gospel is, and it's the sermon that we're continually surrounded with daily, but that is not the sermon of Jesus Christ, and that is not the sermon of salt and light. The sermon of salt and light is not preaching if, but because he loved me, because he died for me, because he came for me, because he rose for me, because he put his spirit inside of me, because he's coming back for me, that I live. Not if, but because. And so, my little walk around tone of voice Jesus developed and matured. It went from he forgives me, if I ask the right way, and when I ask the right way, he can be nice to me. He loves me some days, but then he loves me not some days. It kind of depends on what psalm I'm reading. If David seems sad, then maybe I should be sad. Or if David seems angry, maybe I should be angry. Like, this is the kind of he loves me, not gospel. But that is not the gospel of Jesus Christ. The gospel of Jesus Christ says he's not only around you, but he's inside of you, and he's surrounded you, and you wear him, and you smell like him. And the only sentence he begins his dialogue with you is, this is my beloved Son, and this is my beloved daughter in whom I'm well pleased. Do you walk in the if gospel, or do you walk in the because gospel? Think back with me. When did the gospel become real to you? The beginning segment of our series is about words. Everybody say words. There are three things, I think, that would make up a life. That would be areas of influence for the gospel to invade. Not just our words, our ways, our ethos, our rhythms, our patterns. Not just the things that we say we want to do, but the things that we actually do. The things that just naturally flow out of us. That would be our ways. Our words are the things that we say, our dialect, our tone, what we say. Our ways is what we do continually. But we'd have to go out of our way to distinguish a work. To confront racial injustice, you would have to go out of your way. You'd have to be inconvenienced, right? To go and make a disciple, you would have to cross the street. You'd have to go out of your way. And so it's not just the words and the ways, but there is risk involved and faith involved and calling involved, and so there must be works. So those are our three focus words for the whole summer. But this is what we're talking about today, is words. Words are important. Words create worlds. As a matter of fact, one of the main jobs of Adam in the garden was to use his words to name the animals, because naming something is claiming authority over it. You can watch the news today and notice that the words are creating a war over the issues that we're seeing, are they not? There is a war of narratives, is there not? Whoever has the microphone, whoever gets to decide what that is called, is the one who controls the narrative and therefore acts as the authority in that issue. And so words are the power of life and death. They're in the tongue, and words are critical and important to the way that we speak to ourselves and others. So the gospel is about ways and is about works, but it's also about words. And words are so important. Words are so important because words carry meaning. To the same way that a building is built with numbers, our lives are built with words. Words are what define things and capture emotions. The same way that we want the measurements of the scaffolding and the infrastructure and the foundation of these buildings to be right, how much more we want our lives to be built on the words of the gospel of Jesus Christ, to be critical that we would take captive our language and our words, because words are like the little, remember the Dewey Decimal System? You go into the downtown library right now, and there's whatever, 100,000 books. And the librarian could find any book that you want in the matter of a couple clicks in a second. You know why? Because the thing is alphabetized, and it's organized. And when we are low, and when we are forgetful, and when we are sad, and when we are angry and sorrowful, may we have words to preach to ourselves. May we remember the words that he said, right? That the cross has offered peace to the world, that he desires that all men would be saved, that he gave himself as a ransom for many. We need these words. We need to meditate on these words. And I think sometimes we think we graduate from this, but I could not recommend more highly as I think about this concept of words that we do memorize the scripture, even if we don't necessarily know what they mean yet, that they would come upon us and teach us what they mean when the event comes to us, that we would have the words and the language to preach the gospel to us, because this is the importance of words. And so, the gospel. The gospel is of uttermost importance, and that's what we'll look at in Corinthians 13 in a moment. But if you're with me in Genesis 1, I just want to preach the gospel to us this morning. It is a joy to preach the gospel. The gospel is the only hope. As a matter of fact, anything else less than the gospel that would narrate our world might look good, but it's actually poison. Any parenting that doesn't have the gospel in it is poison. It's probably worse than overtly countering or antagonizing the gospel. Like a parenting style that looks like the gospel but isn't truly the gospel is actually more harmful than helpful. Leadership without the gospel, harmful. Race relations without the gospel, harmful. Politics without the gospel, harmful. The gospel is the only hope that we have. May our words form meaning and narration around our lives around the gospel. Genesis 1, verses 31 through chapter 2. 4 movements of the gospel, and actually let's get the little creative chalkboard up there. There are 4 major movements of the gospel, which, by the way, Tim Keller, bright guy, we should listen to him. The gospel is not just the ABCs of life, it is the A through Z of life. Great trick would be that we could just pass the gospel as though it's first base. He says, no, the gospel is not just the foundation, it's the infrastructure of everything that we do. The gospel is the creation, and everybody has a creation story. That is what we think is utopia, what we think is the ideal. Do we have God's ideal or ours? And there's the fall. What is wrong with the world? What makes it broken? Everybody understands it's broken. It's actually the easiest doctrine to prove out of all of these is the brokenness of the world. We all know without any kind of, with general revelation, that something ain't right. Redemption, what Jesus brings, and finally restoration. And here's the most important thing about this. An abbreviated gospel, and like a truncated version of what you see on that screen, will always lead to an abbreviated and truncated life with God here on this earth and beyond. If we don't understand all of Him and give all of us to all of that, then we miss something. And it will be harmful. It will be very, very harmful. So this is what Genesis 1 says. I'll read it right off the screen. And it says this. It says, God saw, after He created everything, all that He had made, and He said it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. And it says, thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. And by the 7th day, God had finished the work He had been doing. So on the 7th day, He rested from all of His work. God blessed the 7th day and made it holy because He rested on it. And from that, all of the work of creating that He had done. He rested from all the creating He had done. Now the serpent, that's the next slide. Go back to the last one. It says that He calls it holy. He blesses the 7th day. And He says He sits back and He rests in all that He had done. The resting here that's going on in Genesis 2, 1 and 2, is not lazy boy resting. It's throne resting. You know the difference between that? So like, it says that God has created the world, He's called it good, and there's one moment for a second when the woman wasn't there, and then He said that wasn't good, and then He fixed it, right? He said it was good. And then it says He sits back and He rests, and He calls it holy, which means complete and set apart and good. It was everything that He intended to be. And when He sits back, He's not sitting back because He's tired. He's sitting back because it's complete. It's like when Captain Picard on Star Trek sits back and says, engage. It's a picture of a king over his kingdom. It's a picture of me when I get done mowing the grass and all the little trimmings all done and the sprinkler system comes on and I sit in my lawn chair and I just admire the work that I've done. It represents fullness, shalom, and kingdom. It is the picture of a king sitting over a kingdom. 2 observations about this. 2 observations about creation that are important. Number 1. At the fullness of creation, when God has called it complete and holy, the apex of the creation is clearly Him. He is at the center of creation. He is at the center of what we call the utmost of what this created order could be. Okay? So the follow-up question becomes, if my gospel has anything else except Him at the center, if my gospel is this utopic wonderland where I'm running around and get all the Maseratis and the attention that I want, and all my problems are gone, and everything else is just working out, but it does not have Him at the center of the great cathedral creation, where all of creation is bowing down and lifting up his name umpteenth times to the volume and passion that we lifted his name up today, then that is not the gospel. That is not the picture. That is not what he's saving us into. He is saving us into nothing more and nothing less than that picture right there, the restoration of Eden with him at the center. Number two, if our gospel to ourselves and others starts with this phrase, "You are an abomination," you have skipped half of the movie. The whole story begins on chapter 1, where he's at the center, and we are not obstacles and enemies, we are participants. We are gardeners for his glory. So if we're headed anywhere else but that Garden of Eden, we are not listening to the gospel. This is the mandate that he set his feet on his throne and called it complete and called it holy and declared it. That's the dictionary we're going to use for what this thing is supposed to be. It's not going to be my version or your version or her version or their version. It's his version. He is high and lifted up. It's a picture of him on the throne. All of creation lifts up praise to him and gathers around him for eternity. This is heaven. And if you want that, then that's what we're headed towards. But if that's not what you want, then you're not going to like heaven. That's exactly what the gospel is leading us to. Number 2, the second movement in the gospel story is the fall. Genesis 3. I'll read it off the screen. It says this. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say this? You must not eat from any tree in the garden." Next slide. The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden. You must not touch it, or you will die." "You will not surely die," the serpent said to the woman. Next slide. "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took from it and ate it, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked, so they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. When Adam and Eve took the fruit, they were redefining good and evil on their own terms. I remember a youth group kid asked me one time, like, how come he ate the fruit and he didn't just drop dead on the spot? And I said, well, he did. It's a lot like if I plucked a leaf off the tree out there, like I did at Easter and showed it to you, like, it's green, but it's categorically dead. It's only dead and dying. And that is what the world is doing. We're not supposed to be dying even at 86 years old, but that is a result of sin, of separation from God. But here's the thing. The chapter goes on to describe the depth and the width of sin. It's so much more dark and evil and broken than we thought, even just reading the first couple of verses there. Because sin was not only individual, but it was systemic. It was corporate. Like it went from Cain killing his brother Abel to Cain building a city of his own glory where he subjugated women and took the place of God instead of God, himself, and created a government of iniquity. So it's not only deep, the impact of sin, but it's wide. And it's not only that we become victims of sin, but we become villains. Remember how God talks to Cain? He says, "Don't do this, Cain." He says, there's a serpent who's trying to get you. He wants to rule over you, and he will have you unless you resist it. You must rule over it. And so Cain is a victim, but he's also a villain of sin. Those are two different problems that we live with in the world. And so here's the deal. It is not popular to talk about whether you say the wrath of God or hell or judgment. The reality is that hell and the result and the consequence of sin is not only the allowance to be separate from God, but the active enforcement of judgment on people that rebel against God. That is the gospel. Those two things have to be intact there. That death and judgment and wrath, okay, is not only the passive allowance of people to turn their back on God, but the active, right, and just judgment on people. Okay? So let's talk through this for a second. We saw an 8-minute video clip that will change our nation forever. And nobody that saw that clip wants that police officer back on the street with a badge on, right? Right or left, Republican or Democrat, nobody wants that guy without justice, right? Here's the trick, though. Here's the trick. All justice requires judgment. We live in a world where we want justice, but we don't know what to do with judgment. That guy, George Floyd, does not get his justice, right? If that police officer doesn't get justice, here's the catch. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because we want to live in a world where we get justice and someone else gets judgment. But justice to somebody else probably means justice to me, or judgment to me. Okay, so give me an example of that. So I'm on Facebook the other day, Ryan Thomas, gentle giant, 7 foot tall at like 8th grade. He set a screen on me on a high pick and roll at a basketball game one time. It was like he sent me to the chiropractor. My back cracked like a xylophone straight up my vertebrae all the way to my neck, and I fell down. He was twice my weight. Good job, Ollie. Picked me up, patted me on the butt, got going. I'm scrolling through. He's been sharing areas of racism that he's experienced from his life, from the time he was a little boy until he grew up. He makes a comment about a basketball game in 1999. Apparently, at halftime, he came in, and there was a swastika sign that somebody had written on the locker room of the girls' JV locker room, which is what happens when you're a high school basketball player. You end up in the girls' locker room all the time. Swastika on the thing. We come back. We win the game by like a buzzer beater. It's all white school. Our team is mainly black. Coach tells them, we got to go. At the end of it, we get in the locker room. He says, we got no time to celebrate. They're mad. We got to go out there. He's like, hashtag whatever, stories of my youth. Okay, and he shares these stories. Okay, so here's what's alarming about that. I think we're realizing that racism is a systemic issue, and we're realizing it's deeper and wider than we thought, and probably needs more attention and concern and active engagement than we thought. And I hope we're learning this. I think we're learning this. I think this is what we're sort of trying to understand and grapple with. Okay, but here's what alarms me about that story is that I was in that room and I had no idea it happened. I was completely blind. I was completely blind to the mark on the locker room. I was completely blind to the dynamic of race. I was completely blind to his stripe. I was completely blind to either my opportunity to act and do something right, as well as my guilt for not engaging and caring about my brother as much as I do about myself. And I've been a teacher, right? Before this, I was a teacher for 7 years, and there's not a day goes by. You know, Jesus says that when you whisper idiot to somebody, it's like you're killing them. It's associated with murder in his mind. Remember, he sits down, he says, if you have lust in your eyes, you've already helped sex trafficking. It's already happened. Okay? So we think that God is this IRS agent who's auditing our life, trying to fine-tune little things. That's not what it is. The reality is we are blatantly, overtly hurting each other more than we know. We are speaking and acting and being passive and being aggressive and affecting people's destiny more than we know. God is not an OCD auditor. He is seeing things clearly that we're blind of. And we want justice, but we don't want the judgment. And there's 7 billion people in this world, and not all of them can be judged. And I don't want to be judged by the 600 followers I have on Facebook. And if I were to judge the world, I would probably judge accurately against the 600 people that I'm friends with, because my eyes aren't the clearest things. The Bible says that we like to make what is right in our own eyes. So that's the reality. Either we live in a life where George Floyd gets justice and there's judgment in it, or we live in a life where that guy goes scot-free. Which one do we want? This is how we have to grapple with the reality of the judgment of sin. We're blind to it, and we're not just victims. We are villains and perpetrators. Sin is not just around us, it is in us. And it's not just the world's problem, it is our problem. We are broken, we are flawed, and unfortunately, we're the last ones to see it. So this is what the gospel is saying. Who's ready for some good news? You got to get the bad news, right? You can't preach the good news without the good news without the bad news. Everybody turn with me in 1 Corinthians 15:8, short passage, but something that I think can equip us well. Now, brothers, says Paul, I want to remind you of the gospel that I preached to you, which you received and on which you have taken your stand by the gospel, not the gospel of just do it or think different, not the gospel of try harder or move slower, or not the gospel of good vibes only, or not the gospel of exercise or the gospel of diet, but the gospel of Jesus Christ. The gospel that I preached to you, the word I preached to you, otherwise you have believed in vain. For what I received, pass on to you as it was of first importance. That Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day according to the Scriptures, and that he appeared to Peter and then to the 12. After that, he appeared more than 500 brothers at the same time, most of whom are still living, though some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James and the other apostles as well. Do y'all have that dry erase board that I sent? I sent it late in the email. If we don't understand the fullness of the gospel, we will miss the fullness of Jesus in our life. An abbreviated gospel is an abbreviated experience with Jesus Christ. And the gospel is this. I've got the quote here. If we can find the picture as well, but the quote is this: the gospel is the good news that Jesus is redeeming all of me and all of this through repentance and believing in him. That's what the gospel is. It's not just me getting to heaven. It is us getting back to the garden. That's the gospel message. Take it or leave it. Either all of it or none of it. We will either accept all the gospel or none of the gospel. And so the language here in 1 Corinthians 15, in the language of Jesus, is actually a little tongue-in-cheek, okay? Because those words, salvation and faith and believe and stand, those are not just Jesus' words, those are Caesar's words. Those are Caesar's words. It would be as though Jesus came to town, or Paul came to town with a purple trucker hat that said, "Make America kingdom again." That's exactly what's just happened. Because a Roman citizen, after it had taken over new territory, at that time owned 23% of the world, because this is during the Pax Romana, the time of Roman peace, was promising a gospel. That's what it was called, a gospel, a good news, a kind of kingdom that would come. And that Caesar was saying, or the messenger that was coming to speak on behalf of Caesar was saying, good news, the gospel of Caesar is here, and he has conquered this territory. Believe it, and you'll be saved by Caesar, because Caesar is Lord. And Jesus comes in with that trucker hat and he says, "No, I'm Lord. And we're making this place like heaven again." That's what we're doing. That's what the kingdom of heaven is all about. This is the full gospel. We take it or leave it. It's all of it or none of it. And so let me read the gospel to you as I've understood it with these arrows, and this will kind of be our take-home place here. But this is the gospel. Does that have the arrows? There it is. You're a victim and you're a villain. You have sin outside of you and inside of you. It's personal and it's systemic. It's broken and you can't beat it. And there's nothing that can fix it. And we need to head back to the garden, not just for one person to get out of this place. We need this place restored the way it was intended to be. This is not a bad world that God wants to destroy. This is a good world made bad that is broken and needs to be redeemed. And the kingdom of the gospel of the kingdom, is Jesus has come to redeem it. And this is the gospel, that Jesus came for us. He came for you. He was not repelled by your sin, but came to this earth to be kissed by Jesus, betrayed by Judas, betrayed by men, and scorned and spit upon. This is who he is. Take it or leave it, like it or not. This is the truth. It's not good advice, it's good news. He came for you. He put on flesh for you, and he walked here for 33 years on this earth, a perfect life, but tempted and tried, so that you would understand, and that he would understand what it's like to walk through sickness, and what it's like to walk through brokenness, and what it's like to have a friend betray you, and what it's like to be hurt and cursed, and what it's like to be tired, and what it's like to be confused, and what it's like to not know the answer. He put on flesh, and he became fully man, and he walked this thing out so he could show us what life would look like, and so we can empathize with everything that we have. And then he died. And at that cross, the wrath of God was satisfied upon Jesus. Jesus took the punishment that we deserved, and he put sin on the cross, emptying it of its powers, and he stepped on the serpent, our enemy, making us no longer a villain by way of identity and no longer a victim. We are powerful in the name of Jesus Christ, and he died for us. And so what is true of Jesus is now true of me. Jesus was treated like me, so I could be treated like him. And now everything that is true of Jesus is true of me, and the only way that the Father talks to me is the way that he talks to the Father. The only way he looks at me is through the Diet Coke of the gospel. That's how he sees me. That's who I am. But he didn't stop there. He resurrected. He conquered death. That death would no longer be part of the human experience of the new creation, that we would live eternally and abundantly with him forever. This is the full gospel. He came for us. He lived for us. He died for us. He raised for us. He ascended for us. What is the ascension? The ascension is saying the work is finished. And so any moment that I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I need to do a little bit more, if somebody needs to do a little bit more, if something needs to change, he's going upwards in that arrow. He's saying, no, if the work needed to get done, it's already done, because I'm seated at the right hand of the Father. It's already established, and there's nothing that can be done or undone about it. It's already done in my name. This is what we need to preach to ourselves and others, that he sent his Holy Spirit to continue his life here on this earth. Greater works will you do because the Holy Spirit is within you. It's better that I go because the Holy Spirit will indwell in you, and you will continue my redemption life into the new creation until he's coming back for you. And he's coming back for you. And when he comes back, all rights will be made, or all wrongs will be made right. Everything on this earth will be put back together again in that Eden reality. That's the gospel. Take it or leave it. That is the good news. Not good advice, not good wisdom. That is the good news. And this is where we live in the 4th chapter of the new creation. Paul compares it to an acorn and an oak tree. As much as an acorn has transformed to be a different kind of category of species, so it is that we have been transformed to be a new creation in him. We are no longer the old creation. We are part of the new creation. The old man is gone and the new has come. I'm not just a sinner who sometimes does good things. I'm a saint. I'm a saint. I'm a saint. I'm a son. I'm a daughter who sometimes reverts back to an old nature, but day by day, glory by glory, I'm being moved into the new creation, that we would be the first taste and the first fruit of what that kingdom is about to be like through salt and life. Salt and life. Salt and life. And that's the gospel. That's the whole gospel. That is the good news, not of Caesar, but of Jesus. That he has come, that he is the king, that he is the savior, and we can receive it by believing, by just trusting and believing his kingdom come and his will be done. Is that good news? I just want to close up. I'll have Timothy up here to kind of transition into worship. The intentional question says, if you're surrounded by the gospel, not of Jesus, but of the world, do you know how to preach the gospel of Jesus? You're hearing messages all the time. And unless they're coming through the Spirit and through the truth of Jesus, they are not the gospel. They are not the good news of the kingdom. And so the gospel of the world comes to us, the fifth gospel comes to us in 3 different categories as I've looked at it. It comes to us in the form of lies, it comes to us in the form of accusations, and it comes to us in the form of temptations. And so if you hear, this is the intentional question, like if this is the thought that you would put language to, words create worlds, and language is culture. If this is the language that is developing the culture of your mind, you need the gospel. In every area of life, we don't graduate from the ABCs of the gospel. We live in the language and the alphabet of the gospel from birth until resurrection and kingdom come. This is where we live. We do not live in these places. God doesn't really love you. This is the gospel of the world. God is here to keep joy from you. God has plenty of people to worry about. A lot of people that are really suffering, not first world problems. And so he's too busy, and he's not around. He's a deist at best. He set the clock, he's wound it up, and now he's backed off and allowed it to just play its part. He's not involved. He didn't come for you. He didn't live for you. He didn't die for you. He didn't raise for you. He didn't ascend. His work isn't complete. Comes in the form of accusations. Maybe you've heard this before. You always do that. You'll never not do that, will you? It's just who you are. You blew it again, and you'll blow it again. You shouldn't be surprised because you're a loser and you're a hypocrite. You're not a son, and God doesn't look at you like he looked at Jesus. He's not pleased with you. You're a fake. The gospel of the world, the because gospel hits you with temptations. Have you heard any temptations today or last week? You deserve that. You worked really hard. It'll take your troubles away. And you're no really good without it anyways. I mean, you're really helping people by surrendering to this substance. This will make you powerful. This will make you feel desired. This will make you aroused. You need to get this thing. And if you do, then everything else will get better. And of course, we can only export what we import. And so the words that come into our mind and heart about others is go ahead and say it. You know it's true. You know everybody else is thinking about it. This is for their own good. Give them a little tough love. Have you heard counterfeits of the gospel? Have you heard things that twist a little bit towards the gospel, but they're not the full thing? They're not that he came for you, that he lived for you, that he died for you, that he raised for you, that he ascended for you. You'll look better if you say that about them. If you share that with this person, it'll actually build an intimacy because you'll know that you trust them. That's how you can communicate, by gossiping in that way. They hurt you, you should pay. just a whole nother laundry list. These are just things that I think of sometimes. But it's not the gospel, not the gospel of the kingdom. The gospel of the kingdom is that he came for you, that he lived for you, that he died for you. Is that the language that is in your mind? Is that the culture and the environment? That he died for you. It was true of Jesus, it's now true of you. He only looks at you, beginning sentence. This is my beloved son. This is my beloved daughter in whom I'm well pleased. We know the gospel and we know how to preach it to our counterfeits, that he's sent, he's done working. And there's nothing else that we can do to change him. There's nothing we can do to make him love us anymore, or nothing we can do to make him love us any less, because we live in the because reality, because he died for us, because he's king and not Caesar, because he's complete, because he's put his spirit inside of us. We can live free. We can live as sons and daughters, marching on into the new creation where all things are restored to the garden space again, that he put his spirit in you. Do you preach the gospel to yourself and others? That he is coming back for you. Do you preach the gospel to yourself and others, or just give good advice? I want to invite you to stand, and I just want us to worship in light of these things. Let me lead us in prayer, and we'll close our time in worship this morning. Oh, Lord Jesus, we just say that your kingdom come and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And may it start in me. May you cultivate in me a gospel reality, that what is here and what I see and what we know is fading away and passing away. And the things that have to do with bitterness and greed and slander and gossip, and the things that have to do with racism, and the things that have to do with elitism, and the things that have to do with pride, those things are passing away. They're the old thing that are passing away. And Lord, that you would cultivate a gospel narrative in me. And Lord, that it would flow out to my neighbors. That there would be a salt and light about me, that many, many, many would hear the gospel. Many need to hear the good news. There are so many that need to hear this good news, that you came for us. Not only that you came, but you stayed, that you lived, that you walked this earth and suffered many persecutions so that you could empathize with all things and be a great high priest on our behalf, that you died for us, that you were the great substitute and the great conqueror for our enemies, that you emptied the tomb and emptied death from life, and that you ascended to finish your work, that you put your Holy Spirit in us, and that you're coming back for us. This is the gospel, and we receive it, and that many would receive it and find faith and life and freedom in you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you for the cross that you have carried. Thank you for your blood that was shed. You took the weight of sin upon your shoulders and sacrificed your life so I could live. Oh, thank you for the cross that you have carried. Thank you for your blood that was shed. You took the weight of sin upon your shoulders and sacrificed your life so I could live. Now nothing is holding me back from you. Jesus, you're the King upon the throne. Thank you for the way you've always loved me. Now I get to love you and reach. Let's sing thank you again. Lord, thank you that we're living in your kingdom. We just declare, Jesus, you're the King upon the throne. Thank you for the way you always love. Oh, now I get to love you in return. Now I get to love you in return. 'Cause nothing is holding me back from you, Redeemer of my soul. Oh, nothing can hold me back from you. Your love will never let me go. Your love, oh, your love will never let me go. I believe the Lord, your love will never let me go. 'Cause your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. No, your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love, your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Oh, and in death, in life, I'm confident, covered by the power of your great love. 'Cause my debt is paid. There's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Oh, we sing it, Lord, that in death, in life, I'm confident, covered by the power of your great love. My debt, oh, 'cause my debt is paid, and there's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Oh, 'cause your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails and never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails and never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love alone, Lord, sustains us and keeps us. May we leave this room depending on your love, Lord. And just as we sang in the beginning, it's this holy love, this perfect and complete pure love that you have. And we press into that by your Spirit, Lord. We press into that love for ourselves, but we press into it for those around us, Lord. You didn't give us the sweet gift of grace and mercy for us to keep for ourselves, but to share and extend. And may we do it in the smallest of ways, Lord. Thank you for convicting us this morning, but thank you for redeeming us as well, to make us look more like you, a good, perfect, and pure God. We just receive that from you today, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. Well, if you guys would, we're going to have some direction to exit the building that Matt is honestly a lot more informed about. So I'm going to hand the non-essential microphone to you that you do not have.